to mention that the first event that I organized in the Parliament as an MEP was the perspectives of the cultural accessibility for persons with disabilities and learning disabilities. And I'm not talking about persons with disabilities to participate as audience, but also as creators, as artists, as creators of contemporary cultural products. So in this initiative, we highlighted practices and digital tools that could boost cultural accessibility for persons with disabilities. However, the discussion showed that until that moment, persons with disabilities were systematically excluded, especially from the scope of important pieces of legislation, while the audiovisual sector was discussed in the framework of the Accessibility Act. So in March 2021, the European Commission adopted the strategy for the rights of persons with disabilities for the period 2021-2030. In this strategy were announced initiatives such as disability platform that was established in the end of 2021, including all EU member states. Also, a package of measures concerning the integration of people with disabilities into the labor market was launched this thing in September 2022. A European Resource Center was launched in 2022 also, called Accessible EU, which provides framework for cooperation between national authorities and a framework for sharing good practices for policy development. Also, a European disability card will be created. The Commission will push guidelines at the end of 2023 for the participation of people with disabilities in electoral process as candidates and voters. This is very important, just to mention this, because if we don't have people that know firsthand what are the issues, how the policies will be effective in the seats that we in the position that we take, we make the decisions for the policies, we won't have effective policies. That's why I think that this thing for the candidates and the voters in the electoral process is very important. Also, where recommendations are also announced to ensure that people with disabilities are no longer excluded and can live independently and choose where and with whom they want to live. A framework for the provision of social services to people with disabilities will be represented in 2024. And also, as a member of the Committee on Petitions, I have worked as a shadow rapporteur on the opinion towards the equal rights for persons with disabilities. Among others, I tried to highlight the participation in cultural life for persons with disabilities, cultural materials in accessible formats, because we have cultural materials that we can give to people, but they are not accessible. Also for television programs, films, theater, and other cultural activities to be in accessible formats. Also try to highlight the improving accessibility to cultural heritage sites for persons with disabilities. Just to say that in Greece we have not a very well implementation of all these accessible formats that the EU has proposed. I say this because a lot of people are thinking that the accessibility now in the cultural areas are not that hard. But in many countries, we have this thing. We have to come all member states in the same level on this subject. Also, I believe that it is very important for our discussion to consider that the use of assistive technologies in order to facilitate the participation in cultural events such as theater and to enhance the well-being cultural through cultural participation. As we have probably already discussed, I think that we have done that. In this framework of your project, new technologies are primarily seen as a factor in facilitating and normalizing the life of disabled people in the field of cultural participation. In fact, the question of accessibility has generated as a considerable debate and activity over the last few years in the European Union level, at the European Union level. So on how assistive devices and new technologies used on the principles of human rights, such as dignity, autonomy, equality, non-discrimination, participation, and inclusion. And in the cultural sector has to be as effective as possible, because through the cultural perspective, we create the mindset of people in societies. So we can retain choice and autonomy in the life of people with disabilities. Besides that, UN Convention on the Rights of People with Disabilities affirms that assistive technology is essential so persons with disabilities will live independently and able to participate fully in all aspects of life. Inside the EU, we face the problem that relevant legislative frameworks are subject to differences in interpretation and implementation across member states. In this regard, I strongly believe that your project, by presenting new demands from the theatre sector and social legal reflections regarding new inclusive tools for assisting people with blindness and vision disabilities in theatrical performances, could contribute in the current EU legislative framework. So this exchange of views can help us to combine forces with civil society in order to formulate an inclusive framework to ensure that no one is left behind. This is something like a general approach. Now, I would like to have maybe something like a debate of how we can I can participate to your project. What do you want me to tell you, and what information I can use? What information you can create for me to take in my office and put it in legislations and discussions in the European Parliament.
Perfect. First of all, thank you very much for sharing all this info with us and for having the will to keep up with our project and support our project. It is very important. Thank you very much. So, a lot of...
To give to our guests. Would you like to ask something, Amor?
Yeah, for your question, I think your help would be in the area of EU strategies, as you mentioned, because we are aware of them by their titles, but not by their insights, not in much detail. So, as you said, I took the note for the EU strategy for people with disabilities. That is something we will definitely follow and see what we can get from it, and we act respectively and parallel to that. So in that regard, I think your knowledge of European strategies will help us a lot in this regard. Just what I had here as the note.
Ali,
yes, I would say that in European Union we try to create new policies. We believe that they are. I will use it because I hear my son back. We believe that the policies will be effective and helpful to the people with disabilities. Just to mention, when we are talking about people with disabilities, we're not talking about only the people with a disability, but with the assistance of with the people around the people with disability. This has to be very clear for everyone, because we think that just helping the person that has the disability is already done. The work is already done. This is not true, because they work more like a team, I would say. So we don't have to think, when we're talking about people with disability, about one person that has one kind of disability. And the assistants as well are in the same field. So I believe that European Union is working on this subject, but they don't have the full picture, I would say, because they're working with legislations. They're working with just words. They don't feel what exactly is the problem and how we can create effective policies, because we don't use culture as much as we have to. Culture is something that is a tool that can talk straight to the emotion of people. That means that can create the mindset of the policies, not just the rules. That you have to follow the rules. You have to understand. You have to feel the rules. So that's why I believe, and that's why I believe this project that you have on the table right now is very important. Means that we need to create culture that is friendly to many aspects of the society, as well as for people with disabilities. And that's why we need people, artists, to be from this society, from the society of people with disability. Otherwise, we will have a society with people with disability and another society with people with no disabilities. This is totally wrong, and we need to break these barriers, and we need to create one society. And in order to create one society, we need to have culture with all these inclusiveness that we're talking about. That means that people that they have, for example, blindness or visibility disorder, we have to embrace them in theater, for example. We need to use any kind of tools, anything, to be part of this. I would just say, if I talk too much and I have like long speeches, please, stop me. There was a big incident in National Theatre in one of his interviews, talking regarding about people with disabilities. He said that I can't, because he's a director as well, I can't use a person with disability on stage. This is not doable. It can't work, because everyone of the audience will look at this person and they will ruin my direction, the whole project. And my answer on that is, this is exactly the problem, because we don't have very often people with disabilities on stage. It looks that it's something, I don't know, something, extraterrestrial, and people looking at this. If a blind man is on stage, everyone will look at this person, at this actor, to see how that works, because it's new. But if it's included, if it's normal, we have it in every time, very often, this person on stage, it will not be anymore something weird. It will be normal. So we need to act exactly the opposite direction that the director, the chair of the National Theatre, said. We need to embrace these people.
Okay.
And there is another that just, to talk about it. Maybe it's very provocative, but I will try to say it. In the story of Leonidas with the Persians, with the 300 against the Persians, there was a Spartan that was disabled, that was a person with a disability, Ephialtes. And he went to Leonidas, to the king, and said, you have your 300 soldiers, but I want to participate to this war and be opposite the Persians, and I want to, to participate in the battle. And Leonidas told him, can you raise your shield upon your shoulder? He tried, but he couldn't. He said, no, so you can't, fight with us. Go and bring water, and after the battle, and he was in a way, I don't care about these people. And we saw what this person did after that, because they have lost because of the non-inclusivity that they had in mind. They wanted only the 100%, warriors, and then they have lost because the battle is not the society. The society has to give the battle. And if you put people from your society out, then you're not 100%. So we need to think that, okay, if I have an actor that can see very well, can hear very well, that doesn't mean that I don't have an actor. I need to change my mindset of what is an actor.
Yeah. May I ask you something?
You also have 4 minutes.
I just opened the microphone.
Okay.
You can talk now.
May I ask you something, please? According to your experience, have you ever met any person with disabilities who were discouraged to go to an acting school, to try his luck on the theatre industry because of his disability? And what were actually his or her thoughts? What he or he was thinking about? What was her mental situation on this?
What was what?
I was saying, if you have ever met a person with disabilities who was discouraged to go to an acting school or to participate, yes, or to try his luck in the theatre industry, and what were his or her thoughts on this? How she or he felt about it?
What I would say, or what he or she said?
See the person.
Okay.
What was the feelings? I mean,
I was present in many of these discussions.
Mm-hmm.
When I first went to the school, drama school, we had the discussion, and all potential actors were asking the professors who can act. What do you need to have in order to be an actor? And all the professors were saying, not all, but most of them, were saying, if you have 2 hands, 2 legs, if you can speak, if you have a head or something, you are a potential actor. This perspective have created all this mindset that we have right now, that we have a person that is the chairman of the National Theatre, the National Greek Theatre, and saying, I can't have in my team one of those people. This is a very bad perspective, and they have affected a lot of people of doing this. That they were examples that didn't believe on this. They act in a different way. They said, I don't care of what you're saying, that I need to see very well. Because they're saying, if you have glasses, if you wear your glasses, you have a role limitation, because you can play all the roles. Because when you remove your glasses and you can see very well, your gaze is not exactly how you have to use your, the way you look and all that. Now, there are examples that they can do that in a very effective and a very interesting way. Even if you don't hear very well, even if you don't see very well, if you can walk very well, if you can speak very well as well. We have many examples that they can overcome this. I'm not saying that it's nothing, because right now the field, the sector has some standards. And people that they don't have these standards have to overcome these standards. But this is not impossible. For example, I have dyslexia. I can't read in a way that people can read. When you first go to a casting room or in school, the first thing that you have is you take your role, you have it like this, and you play. I can't do that. I can't read in a normal pace, not fast, in a normal pace. Because when I try to read and I try to focus, my eyes can't take the picture and can take the words. So I had to find other ways to learn my lines, to be able to play.
Sorry
without
to interrupt you.
lines.
Sorry, Mr. Georgoulis.
And that created.
Sorry, just a minute.
Sorry. So I believe that it is difficult. There are things that you have to overcome that other people don't have. But when you overcome these obstacles, you are more interesting, and you have one more reason to do that. Because the thing that you do is bigger what the others have to do. So there is the interesting thing for people to think that art is about breaking the limits. It's about to think and get out of the box and think new things. Give inspiration. So I would say this initiative that you have has two big two big opponents in a way. One is that you can give data and help the European Parliament or the Commission when you give your data, and give more information to make legislations and the policies more effective. But on the other hand, you help inspiration. You help people from that they feel that they are outside of a certain field, that they can be in there and be protagonists, can lead inspirations, can lead the souls of the society.
So Alexis, thank you very, very much for joining. It was an honor and it was very, very valuable, your input. We'll be in touch for sure if we can bother you once again. We can hear you.
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you very much. The pleasure is mine. Yeah. For sure, we will have this meeting again with more time and anything we can do to make this bigger and push it forward. You have me on your side. This is very important. And again, congratulations for the thing that you're doing.
Thank you very, very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Alexis.
you.
Thank you very much.
Have a nice
Bye-bye.
day.
Have a nice day, Alexis. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.